They're definitely smoking guns. That information definitely needs to be made available to the American public. And from what I understand, there's even more underlying evidence that backs up what Director Ratcliffe put out. And just think how long it took for us to figure out this information. I know it's mind-boggling. This has been a very difficult task for us to get to the bottom of, because you have corrupt officials.
That was Congressman Devin Nunes on this program last week, reacting to never-before-seen Russian intelligence that implicates Hillary Clinton and President Obama in a 2016 campaign plot to, quote, stir up a scandal against President Donald Trump. Without brave patriots like DNI John Ratcliffe, who released the report, and his predecessor, Ric Grennell, the American public would never have heard any of this. Ric Grennell joins me right now. He also served as the U.S. ambassador to Germany under President Trump. Ambassador, good to see you this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Maria.
So, Rick, you have said that according to Ratcliffe's this declassification, we have now proof that Obama and Biden directed their administration to use the powers of the government to attack their political enemy, that being Donald Trump. Who, in your opinion, was the mastermind? And tell me what was going on here.
Well, we now know that not only was this a Russian collusion hoax, but that it was known to be a Russian collusion hoax by career intelligence officials. And that's a really big distinction. We now know that insiders in the government, at the CIA, at DOJ, at FBI, they knew that this was a Russian collusion hoax, and they allowed it to go forward for a variety of reasons. They were convinced that Hillary would win, and they didn't really want to challenge Goliath. They thought that their careers could be benefited if they just shut up. But here is the key to this whole argument that politicians in Washington need to focus on. I would also say the president's cabinet members and the inspector generals all need to focus on. Right now we have Comey and Brennan and others saying that they didn't know that this was a Russian collusion hoax. Their people knew. And so what we need to figure out is what level are these individuals going to go to jail? Somebody needs to go to jail and be prosecuted first, obviously. And this is a slam dunk. They lied to the American people. They knew a truth and they hid the truth. This can never happen again. We cannot allow our government to weaponize information to hold it back. You know, now we've got Joe Biden literally saying that the American people don't deserve certain information. He got caught on a camera saying that. This is the ways of Washington. We need transparency, Maria. It's a very foreign concept in Washington, D.C., but the American people need to understand that those in Washington are hiding information from them. They think we're stupid.
Yeah. So you have said that you've got career politicians and then you've got career, bureaucrats in Washington. There were many career people in the DOJ and the FBI who said this doesn't look right, but their red flags were put aside. And the career politicians, I'll call them, like a Gina Haspel, does not want to declassify and disseminate this information because it's going to embarrass the CIA. Is that what we're talking about? And then those career politicians said to themselves, well, we know this is not great info. We know that it's not true, but Hillary is pushing it and she's going to be president, so we're going to go along with it.
Yeah, so the mid-level career officials who obviously knew that this was a hoax, whose comments were pushed aside and classified, a lot of people saw those comments. A lot of people saw those warnings. Comey is accused of seeing those warnings. Brennan is accused of seeing those warnings. Susan Rice is accused of seeing those warnings. Barack Obama and Joe Biden are accused of seeing the warnings and the information that this was a Russian collusion hoax. They went forward with this anyway because it was going after their political opponents. They allowed misinformation, bad information, false information to go forward. Now, the question is, who approved it and how high did it go? I think what we have to do in Washington is just start in the mid-level, go to the people that did do the warnings and say, who told you to shut up? And did you have a conversation? And just keep going up the chain until someone says, I told Comey or I told Brennan, if that's the case.
Yeah.
We know that
Okay.
there's misinformation. We got to focus on who approved it.
All right, we want to move on because I only have another 1.5, 2 minutes with you. John Brennan said that he thinks his legacy is going to be what he has done for the LGBTQ community. Okay, you as the first openly gay man in government, in a leadership position, what do you say to that? What will his legacy be? And then I got to ask you about being knocked off of Twitter. Your account was locked up because of a tweet you put out. We've got the tweet. We're going to show it. Real quick on Brennan first, Rick.
Look, he's trying to distract the situation, and once again, the left is using the gay community to pretend like they're tolerant or diverse. I mean, this is ridiculous. Issuing a statement every June is not a legacy issue, and that's a silly concept. On the Twitter lockout, it's, I happened to get the notice that I was locked out of Twitter, and I was talking to the president, and I told Mr. President, I just was locked out, and here's why. I showed ballots that had been sent to dead people. 2 people that had been dead for 10 years got ballots. I showed the ballots, and Twitter has this community standards policing group that went after me. They didn't call the Los Angeles County Register of Voters to say, hey, your rolls are bad and you're sending ballots to dead people. They locked me out of Twitter. I think if we're going to have community standard policing from some of these tech companies, they need to go after the source. They need to go after the Iranian regime who don't allow their people on Twitter, but they're still allowed to be on Twitter. Or all the porn sites that are on Twitter. There's really bad information. Yeah. And I spoke to the president about getting rid of this 230 exemption and pushed this idea that they should not have an exemption from what they see as freedom. And this is what happened to Craigslist. Craigslist had a real big problem after people started suing them for misinformation.
They started getting sued. Right. Ric Grennell, good to see you this morning, sir. Thank you. We'll be right back.